Ziglar. Inspiring true performance.
Welcome, everybody. I'm glad you're here. It's a free weekly podcast. We're excited to do the Ziglar podcast and want you to tell everybody you know about it. My name is Blake Lindsay, and this is Jill Tibbles.
Hi.
And Mr. Ziglar is here. We're going to talk about sales today. And I want to ask you, what is one of your favorite memories? I know you've got a great sales career, and you tell a lot of great stories, but what is one of your good memories about your sales career?
One of my favorites is, of course, when I made my first sale, because I'd been knocking on doors. I was in direct sales, and I'd been working, and finally, at the end of a long day, and I was very discouraged, I finally knocked on the door. People wouldn't even let me in the house, and this was in the days when they trusted everybody. They wouldn't even let me in the house. And finally, on the next to last home, in this particular incident, a lady answered the door and was very kind and pleasant, and I gave her my little spiel, you know, as we called it in those days. And she said, well, that sounds interesting, but why don't you go next door and see my brother-in-law, and maybe we can get together tonight, and both families can be there. Man alive, I was so excited. That was the first word of encouragement I'd had. The next night I went there, and I made the presentation. Mrs. J.O. Freeman was the lady, as hostess' name, and Mrs. B.C. Dickert was the lady that lived next door. Now, this is over 50 years ago now. You got to understand that. Well, the interesting thing is, when I made the presentation, they responded favorably, and Mrs. Freeman bought the offer I was making, you know, and I was so excited. I was just sitting there, you know, just reveling. I finally had a sale, you know, and I couldn't believe it. And so I was just all excited. And then finally, Mrs. Freeman said, Mr. Ziglar, I believe Mrs. Dickert is interested in this too. And I said, well, what about it, Mrs. Dickert? And she said, well, I didn't bring my money with me. And with great tact, I said, well, shoot, you just live next door. Why don't you go get it?
There you go. I like that.
She said, well, I think I will. Well, that was such a delightful experience. I'll never forget it. And when I got home that night, I got to tell you, we lived in a little small upstairs apartment, and it's about 20 steps up, but I only touched 2 of them getting in to let that beautiful red-headed wife of mine know what had just happened. And we celebrated. We bought 2 quarts of ice cream, and really just had a wonderful, wonderful celebration. That was my first and favorite memory. But another one was, there are many more, but one I must tell you about. I was demonstrating heavy-duty waterless cookware on the demonstration plan, and I was working in a little community called St. Matthews. Well, we had 7 couples at one of the demonstrations, and I'd made the callbacks the next day. And on every one, the first 6, I made a sale. And I was really excited. I got to the 7th one, and this man was known as the tightest human being ever in existence. And when I knocked on his door, he said, Mr. Ziglar, he said, I know why you're here, and I know you expect to make a sale, so I'm going to save you some time. Me and you both know, and you've probably already been told this, that I'm very close with my money, so I'm not about to buy that expensive waterless cookware. And I said, well, you know, that's a little surprising for 2 reasons. Number one, all of your neighbors have bought. I made that a point to let him know that. And I said, number 2, they say that you're very fiscally conservative. He said, well, I am. I said, well, you've been misleading your neighbors all this time because you've made it clear you weren't going to buy this cookware. He said, I'm not. I said, well, let me ask you a question. Were you sincere last night when you said, right in front of all of these people, that you really believe that using this cookware, your wife cooks 3 times a day and doesn't have the right equipment? You said you believe without any doubt at all that you could save at least $5 a day cooking this way, where the shrinkage is less, takes less time to cook it, the heat is much lower, you retain more of the food value. Were you sincere when you said you thought it'd be good for your family and save you money too? And he said, well, of course I said that. Well, let me ask you a question. What changed your mind? He said, what are you getting at? I said, well, you just told me last night that you could save at least $5 a day. and you've been married over 25 years, that's thousands and thousands of dollars you've already wasted.
Wow.
Because you did not have the right cookware. And now you say you're going to keep on wasting those thousands of dollars because you're not going to invest $345 in a set of cookware that would save you thousands of dollars every year. I said, that's government thinking. That shows you're a tightwad.
I bet that got his attention.
And if you don't think for 1 minute that I'm not going to tell every one of these people that you did not buy because, you know, you couldn't figure, I said, man alive, you'll lose your reputation in this whole community. Well, he got kind of taken and said, well, I guess you're right. I made the sale, and here's the interesting thing. From that time on, every time I was in that community, word about those demonstrations got around because they went from hostess to hostess to hostess. And he would always know whose home I'd going to be demonstrating in. And he would always show up before I started the demonstration, and he would look at the list of guests. And he would say, well, now, this one won't be any trouble. You can sell that one and this one and this one. But uh-oh, here's two that you'd never make it with. I better go with you on those. And he became the biggest booster I've ever had.
How about that?
That was a wonderful sale that I made.
Fun.
Sounds like it. I lived that as you were telling. It was just fun to hear that. Is there anything that you know a lot more now than you did back then? We all do.
Yeah.
Is there anything in particular that you wish you knew back then?
Well, the thing I wish I had known then was what I know now, if you want to know the truth about it. I wish that I clearly understood the benefits that go with being in the profession of selling. When I did my research and discovered the contributions that the sales organizations have made in this country, and when you think about it, you know, Christopher Columbus was a salesman. He had to sell those people on getting on that ship and going into the unknown. Sir Walter Raleigh was a salesman. He's the one that persuaded the people to go. When you start thinking about when we fought for our independence, George Washington was a wonderful salesman. He had to tell the people, look, we're going to go to war against the most powerful nation in the world. We are undermanned, underarmed, and if we win the war, they're not going to be able to pay us, and if we lose, we'll be prisoners. Now, those were his problems, but he said, freedom is our goal. That's what we want. This is what we will have. He was a tremendous salesman. The rest is history.
That tells us a lot about sales and why sales is important and what you've learned from sales. Thank you so much. We hope you've enjoyed this podcast. And
I wish we had had time for me to say that it's critical that the salespeople have the highest of all moral values, ethical values.
well, I think we did have that time.
Do we have that
You
time?
just said it.
Oh.
If you like this podcast, we want you to tell other people about it. And you can go to our website and email it to a friend. Thanks so much for listening. Make it a better than great day.
Ziglar. Inspiring true performance.